Welcome to another edition of Turf Talk, Royal Ascot edition. Vance, from one of the world's most prestigious meetings, classed it up a little bit.
Yeah, we look pretty good. All we need is our top hat and tails, but
Next year.
Next year, we'll do it then.
Absolutely. Well, day one in the books as people are reading this, maybe even day two, but obviously one of the world's most premier meetings, group ones every day. The world really turns out for this, as does Her Majesty the Queen.
Yes, she attends all 5 days, and the bookmakers over in England actually put out wagers. What color is the Queen going to be wearing every week? And her husband, of course, Prince Philip, not a huge racing fan from what I've read, but he has to accompany her for all 5 days, and that's just the way things go when you're second banana.
Yeah, it's part of the gig for sure, but not to be too shilly. Usually we stick to news topics on here, but do want to point out PPs are free for the entire meeting, so that's through Saturday, and daily selections as well. So for those looking for a little extra analysis, maybe not as familiar with the international circuit, and I know you'll be doing those picks on Thursday and Friday.
Yes, I'm in the process of working on the Thursday sheet as we speak. It's a very interesting card. We got the Gold Cup as the feature. The Ribblesdale for 3-year-old fillies is another great race, very contentious. And then Friday's feature, we have the Coronation Stakes for 3-year-old fillies, and a new Group 1, brand new this year, the Commonwealth Cup is for 3-year-old sprinters. So, of course, five straight days of excellent racing, and it'll bring worldwide attention.
And who doesn't love Group 1s for 3-year-old sprinters?
I'm not the biggest fan in the world,
Yeah.
but I'll plug my way through it.
Absolutely. Well, and the Coronation Cup, of course, Miss Temple City, domestic-based. Owned by some good friends of Bristnet, Bristwatch users, the club, and trained by H. Graham Motion. So we'll certainly be cheering her on in one of the world's best races for 3-year-olds. I asked on Twitter today, Vance, or rather Twinspires asked, we had pictures side by side, Royal Ascot, of course, that great grandstand, Saratoga, the historic grandstand, turning for home. Which meet is the better of two of the world's best? They're very different, so I can understand why it's hard to say, but which would you choose?
It's really an apples and oranges comparison. You're comparing American racing with English racing. Royal Ascot is just 5 days long. It brings the premier horses in England all together, and it's only 30 races, 6 races per day.
Right.
Saratoga, it's increased from 24 days when I was a child to 40 days now,
Yeah.
actually. So it's not quite as elite as boutique as
Yeah.
perhaps as it used to be, but it's still the best racing in the United States, and it generates more than $1.5 million in handle per race. So
Yeah.
they're both fantastic meets, great betting opportunities, but they're really apples and oranges.
Yeah, well, for me, I mean, if you had to pick, I do lean towards Saratoga just because you mentioned the handle. It's a place everyone wants to make a score. I mean, obviously, if you're a horseman and owner, that's top on your list, even just to win a claiming race and get to be in the winner's circle at Saratoga. And as a bettor, to say you hit a pick 4 or pick 6 or whatever bet may have paid the most that day is always sort of a feather in your cap. So for me, to me, the one meet, people look at the jockey standings religiously. They look at who's picking winners in the paper, etc. That makes it fun. So, gun to my head, I picked that, but obviously it was a loaded question. They're both great.
Yes, they are, and Saratoga also has they consistently keep the field size high through the 6.5 weeks of the meet. That's great handicapping and wagering opportunities for American bettors, and of course the same as with the Royal Ascot, where you can see the most prestigious handicaps have 25, 30 horse fields. Of course, in the American pools, you're kind of limited to 24 betting interests, but they're both fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we won't get too far ahead of ourselves. More Saratoga talk next month for sure. But next week we'll be back with Turf Talk. We'll see what's in the news, and we'll talk to you then.